Hi, I'm Amy. Please like and subscribe. I went through the cold dark night hoping to meet someone who could help me find a way home, but there was no one. I scrambled through some bushes unaware of where I was and where I was going until I finally came in front of a huge mansion. There were so many questions in my head. Where was I? How did I get here? Who did the gorgeous mansion belong to? I decided to take a bold step towards the front door. Knock, knock. I knocked. Who's there? A male voice asked. I began to be afraid, but I gathered some courage and replied. Hi, good evening. I replied. Sorry to bother you, but I'm lost. I can't find my way home, and I don't know how I got here. It's late and I really can't hit the road right now, so I was wondering, could I please stay with you for the night? I asked in a shaky voice. The door opened to an angry-looking man, and he wasn't very pleased to see me. Sorry, I don't take late-night strange visitors, he replied in a mean voice and slammed the door. I left the house frustrated, roaming the streets until I finally came to the front of a fairly lit house. An old woman came out of the house. It seemed she had heard footsteps outside. I was surprised to see that she was still up so late, and because she was old, I didn't want to bother her, so I turned to go another way. Wait, young lady, she beckoned on me. What are you doing outside at this hour? I narrated my story to her, and she listened very attentively. You can stay here as long as you want, she said. I thanked her a million times, and she invited me in. It wasn't the best house I'd ever been in, but she made me feel so comfortable and secure. She offered me dinner, and it was the best. After I had dinner, we discussed a little and then went to bed. When I woke up the next morning, I began to try to figure things out. How exactly did I get here? I couldn't recall what had happened before. Had I fainted? If so, then how did I get myself to this unfamiliar place? I asked the old woman to help me out and told her my house address. Really? She exclaimed. What's wrong? I asked. That's on the other side of town. How'd you end up here? Turns out I'd somehow gotten myself to the other side of town. I wondered how this was possible. My parents must be worried sick. I finally freshened up, got some money, and prepared to leave. I had breakfast with the old woman, and it was awesome. She was such a good cook. We exchanged numbers to stop by when anything brings you around here in the future, the woman said. Sure will. I gathered the money I had and hit the road. It took about an hour and 30 minutes to get to my neighborhood. When I arrived at my house, as soon as I opened the door, my whole family came flying towards me and hugged me with much tears of joy. I'm okay. Mom, Dad, Jimmy, thank goodness, darling, my mom exclaimed. We've been so worried about you. I don't know what happened, Mom. Oh, honey, it's a miracle we have you back. It seems you were kidnapped, my mom replied. Turns out I was returning from a school party late that evening with my friends. When we parted ways and I was on the path that led to my house, I got ambushed. The police had caught the criminals, but I was still missing. They searched all night and tortured the criminals but couldn't decipher my whereabouts. Finally, the police was able to get them to confess that a man named Mr. Richard hired them. He was a rich man and had been working with them for long. We were at the station that afternoon when we were told all about the conspiracy. The police had arrested the Mr. Richard and was bringing him to the station. When they arrived, I couldn't believe who I was seeing. It was the man from the night before whose door I had knocked. I was shocked. He glared at me as he was taken away by the police. It turned out to be that Mr. Richard had become rich off all sorts of illegal practices like human trafficking, drug pushing, and all kinds of stuff. I was glad I didn't fall a victim, and when the whole scenario ended, I hugged my family tight.